What's good, y'all? Welcome to Evergreen Conversations, a breakthrough audiovisual storytelling medium that serves as a platform for news, entertainment, sports, and culture. My name is Freddrell Green, and today on our show we have Mathews. He is the founder and executive director of the Black Youth Empowered Network, founded here in the state of Georgia. He's a proud Warner Robins native and Georgia native, just like me. And we're going to be talking about the story of BYEN and how you've gotten it to where it is today. So, Sean, how you feeling, man?
I'm feeling great. I'm also feeling really excited for this opportunity to speak about the creation of BYEN and just the progression of it as well.
So first, talk to me about, where you're from. You mentioned before you're from Warner Robins. Talk to me about what it was like growing up there and how you got to start BYEN.
Right. Yes, I am from Warner Robins, as we call Wartown as well. It's home of the Air Force Base. Warner Robins is a very small town. Well, they have 70,000 population, right? But at the same time, it's pretty small. Everybody know everybody. It's not a big city per se, but it's like there's fun activities to do. It's a normal average city in the South. I first attended Northside High School in 9th grade. However, the pandemic hit and I had to do it virtually. After the pandemic kind of calmed down, they had brought us in person. And during in-person learning, I had kind of suffered heavily virtually. So my GPA and my grades were pretty down low, and I could only do so much in person. It was like at the last bit of that semester. So I failed 9th grade. I failed a couple of classes, and it just destroyed me mentally, destroyed my confidence as well. So my mom had took it upon herself to move me to a different high school. And the high school I moved to was Houston County High School. It was a more affluent area. It was predominantly white. And at this high school, my GPA rose, and I also began to get opportunities. And I just got a lot of resources I didn't have in Northside High School. And something that really stood out to me was the difference in culture there as well. Of course, the culture is going to be different, of course, because, Northside was a predominantly black school. And Houston County was a different breed, per se. But something else that stood out to me was like the racial disparities, honestly. At Northside High School, the culture there was, black and lively. However, it was under-resourced. It was underfunded, honestly. And the resources are there and opportunities were not there as well. It was just like, it was non-existent compared to Houston County High School. So that stood out to me as well. So also something else that stood out to me was there's this blog page in my hometown that upload people who get put in jail, yep. Or also news articles as well when people dying or whatnot. And all of these deaths and all of these mug shots were people I grew up with in middle school and partially went to school with in 9th grade. And it was really discouraging because I could have been in those exact shoes if I continued to go to Northside High School. And why is it only that I got the opportunity to move to receive those opportunities? That isn't fair, They should still receive the same opportunities even if they go to a different school across town. So that's what really, really started that fire within me to start BYEN.
Yeah. So talk to me about the organization of it all. You mentioned the disparities that other black youth in your community were facing and how you went into a predominantly white space and you were doing pretty fine, but you saw that there were other people that were your skin color that could be doing a lot better. So talk to me about the organization of it all.
Yes. So I first wanted this to be a school club at my predominantly white school, right? I guess I was going to start a club in the Lions Den. But it's I wanted it to be a black student union. However, it didn't get any answers from the administrators. But that's cool. I, kept that fire within me still, and I wanted to start my own foundation. I was like, maybe this is a sign to start my own foundation. And I did do that. And at first, it was a small group of people. I'd probably say not even a group. Maybe different individuals I knew and told the idea to. They didn't necessarily believe in it. However, they just wanted to support me because they were my friends or whatnot. So I would just send scholarship opportunities to them and different academic opportunities to them that I would come across. And from there, it just kind of became just really stagnant. Then an event happened in my community where young teenagers got into a gun altercation, and one of those teenagers ended up losing their lives. They were like extremely young, I believe still in middle school, and it was just outside of a movie theater as well. So then I realized, like, Jay Sean, you have like this platform that you want to build, yet you aren't tackling the root of the issues that are like that Black people face, especially Black youth face. So then that's when I hosted our first event called Mindful Decisions, and I hosted that event, and only 5 people joined that event. My mom, cousin, 2 friends, and one of my current team members now. I wasn't discouraged at all. Like I told Freddrell a while ago, I wasn't discouraged at all because I've always been a person that valued quality over quantity. However, it was mind-boggling that only 5 people joined when this event was so crucial. So I halted the pause of the organization, and I took time over the summer to rebuild and restructure it because I also understood that it wasn't organized whatsoever. And I couldn't scale properly, and I couldn't assess my members and find like what makes them better and what makes the organization better and how can we effectively make our members just like succeed more. So I took a halt over the summer, and I calculated the organization, and I joined a couple of fellowship programs and civic programs to help me build and mold my mind into an entrepreneurial mindset, especially a social entrepreneurship mindset. And then I relaunched after I got here to Morehouse, I believe in November. And then after November, I officially sent out application notifications in December 15th, and then December 25th. It was a Christmas gift. So I sent that out, and then that's when we had like over 200 people join the network. Like it went from 5 people and select friends to over 200 members in 25 different states. And now in January, we have hosted an event with Hot Today when they host a hot cocoa run. We also went to the state capitol to advocate about gun violence. And we also hosted our own very gun violence awareness event here at Morehouse College. And something I really appreciate is like the culture here at Morehouse and in the AUC as well, because I don't believe the organization would be this far if it wasn't for the AUC.
Right. And I wanted to ask you about Morehouse because, I feel like having this organization that's so near and dear to your heart and being here at Morehouse College, it's not happenstance that those two align with you. So talk to me about what brought you here, man. Was it the same drive and passion that you had to start BYEN, or was it something else entirely?
Yes. Let's go back to 9th grade again, right? So in 9th grade, I did fail. My GPA was horrible. And by the time I finished high school, my GPA was only so appealing to many colleges, right? And out of all those colleges, Morehouse was the number 1 college, And Morehouse also viewed the students holistically there. So it's like they didn't really view the GPA, the SAT. They wanted to view you as a person. Like, how are you interacting with the world? How are you trying to make the world better? So when I found that out about Morehouse, I put my all into it. I visited the Morehouse campus every time I came up here to Atlanta. I made connections here. I spoke to admissions every once in a while to just really make a name for myself here before I even got here. And then also the aspect of Morehouse being a community service school, and really marketing that really drove me here as well. And I also had a passion for community service as well too, because like I told you earlier, I wasn't able to participate in these big elite clubs in high school because of my GPA. So I had to find extra curricular activities that didn't really value numbers. They just wanted to see who you are as a person and your service. So it kind of aligned. I feel like God kind of set that up in a way for me to get prepared to go to a school that is dedicated to service by having me go through that struggle in high school.
That's very powerful. That's very powerful. So talk to me about where necessarily where it's going, but where it is now. You're here, you're at Morehouse, you've built this community that's across Georgia, across the country really, with other states and other friends that you've got involved with. Talk to me about sort of the network that you've built here in the AUC. What does that look like for you? How's it been going, generating those connections with other students that want to work with you, and also talk about what you've done so far?
Absolutely. So I'm a Bonner Scholar as well. That's a whole nother story. How I became a Bonner Scholar, honestly. So I'm a Bonner Scholar as well. So just that platform alone gave me enough resources I need to really propel BYEN here at Morehouse. And also, another thing I love about Morehouse and AUC, you have a lot of compassionate individuals. They're rare to come across, to be honest, but when you do find them, they really, really want to see you win, and they're compassionate as well, and they want to use their resources to push you as well. And it's like a more so, not a transactional relationship, but more so of a collaboration and partnership, right? So when I partner with other students who believe in my idea, I, from what they say I inspire them, I motivate them, right? I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but it's like, it really warms my heart. So like, to know that I inspired them, and I also put them into rooms that they claimed that they weren't able to get into until they met me, it motivates me. It gives me not a big heart, not a big head, but a big heart. It just makes my heart grow more and more and have more love for it. Something I really, really try to instill in my team and the people I work with is that I'm just doing hard work instead of hard work. So it's not really anything like hard to do. It's just like truly from my heart.
So talk to me about what kind of impact would you want to have here in Atlanta now that you're here in the big city?
Yes.
A lot of the stuff that you witnessed when you were in Warner Robins to other people could be like, this is that times 1,000 because of the disparities in, the West End community here. Black Atlanta is a thing. Atlanta is the mecca for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
But there's still a lot of issues as far as, access to a lot of the real estate here, a lot of the economic empowerment that's going on in Atlanta, and having black stakeholders in that. So talk to me about, what kind of impact, you had the gun violence event, which was a great event.
Yeah, I'm going to touch on that actually.
Yeah, talk about that.
So the gun violence event kind of stemmed from the Tuskegee University homecoming shooting. Being a freshman here at Morehouse, I had just experienced my first homecoming. And like seeing so many black people come here and just celebrate black joy and black success and black excellence, it was beautiful. So I can only imagine how the Tuskegee students felt to know their homecoming was ruined by a gun shootout or whatnot. So that really, really encouraged me to possibly host an event at Tuskegee. And I reached out to a couple of Tuskegee students and hey, I want to bring awareness to you guys' situation. I want to do anything I could possibly do to help. However, they had everything on deck there, so they was already working on things, and they just wanted me to be more support there for them. So after that, I realized that, wait a minute, I have the same exact problems in my community and my school, right? I remember one of our brothers got into a gun altercation the first week we got here. Then I also recall a teenager got shot right beside outside of the school gates. Mm-hmm. And it was so many different gun violence happening right outside of our gates, and nobody was talking about it, right? So I knew exactly what issue I wanted to tackle. Our first critical political issue I wanted to tackle was gun violence.
So talk to me about that event in particular. How was the turnout? How was it like? This is your first event that you did, in my memory, here on the campus here at Morehouse. It got a lot of attention from the news media here. It got on 11 Alive here in Atlanta. So what was it like from beginning to middle to end, putting that event together, getting the speakers to come? You had a couple of Morehouse alums who are in the political arena come and speak. Talk to me about what that event was like.
Yes. So that program I mentioned that I did over the summer, the civic programs and stuff, I met a young lady who is on the board of the Students Demand Action, which is an organization that is dedicated to fighting gun violence, right? So I met her, and she connected me with the Southern Regional Director for the South. I connected with them, and I said, hey, I want to collaborate on this event. And they was like, go for it. We give you full support. You have full authority. You put our name on it. We have yours. We're just here for you, whatever you need. I was like, okay, cool. This is dope. So I started planning that actually while also making the applications, sending the applications out. So I planned that event in December, in September, November, that end of the month or end of the year. So I wanted to host the event January 25th. However, things came up. So we pushed the event to March 29th. And my team worked tirelessly. We worked a lot.
And just to clarify, this is a team of students.
Yeah, a team of students.
A team of students.
Some of them are, half of them are, majority of them are in high school still, right? So it's very shocking. We worked a lot. We worked all in night, all in the morning, and I'm a perfectionist as well, right? So I try to rub that off on them a little bit. I'm a perfectionist. I like to hammer out all like the loose ideas. I want it all to be like perfect, right? So that determination, that like resilience, kind of made the event successful as it was. We had a great turnout. Had like over 100 people RSVP, and like as people were coming in, people were like, well, we had 100 people RSVP, and we also had a lot of people come in who didn't RSVP. So the turnout was great. We had an amazing panel. We had Bryce Berry, who was a Morehouse alum, who was also a Georgia representative. He was on the panel. We had Art Powell, who is also he works at the Cure Violence Offender Alumni Association. And we had a couple other panelists as well. One guy was an executive director at the the Violence Reduction office at the mayor office. So he was on the panel as well. It was some really powerful and insightful people on the panel. And I was shocked, to be honest. I was like, how do these people believe in me this much, believe this much in the organization to be on this panel and invest in the organization? So it was like a full circle moment. But then I just really appreciate my team as well, because like they put in the hard work, and I feel like they deserved it, and we deserve that publicity as well. And we also deserve the thing we put in the work, because we all had like an emotional connection to it. And I'm really proud that we got the turnout we did. But what made me more prouder was it wasn't a personal. Well, it was a personal thing as well, but it wasn't a selfish thing that we got publicity for. It was to bring awareness about something that is affecting a lot of Black youth, that is affecting our community.
Mm-hmm. So talk to me, man. You're a freshman, and you're running all of this, not by yourself, but you're taking the helm at a lot of this. You started this. You built these connections with these other students that have the same passion. And then you're turning in exams at 11:59 p.m. every so often, and you're going to philosophy classes, and you're having to deal with other students on the in the campuses and stuff like. So talk to me. How do you balance that?
I'm still learning. I promise I'm still learning. I was just talking to my mentor about balancing. Like, I can't emphasize enough how much I'm still trying to balance. It's so much. I talk to my teachers constantly. Well, that's one thing. Communicating with your professors. I talk to my professors constantly, and also tell them how like it's hard to let go of BYEN and prioritize academics. I know academics are like really important, but BYEN is something I actually created like on my own, and this is my baby. So it's like it's just hard to let go compared to academics. So I'm learning how to balance it out. And some days I might miss turning in an exam at 11:59. I might turn it at 12:02, but I try to turn it in, right?
Yeah.
I try to turn it in, because it's hard to balance like running a social enterprise of 200 members and trying to please all of them, while also at the same time trying to serve my academics and my social life as a college student.
So talk to me about where you want to see BYEN go. What are some future plans, any future events that you have coming up? Who would you like to partner with?
Yes. So I want BYEN to be it's already a national organization, but I want it to be a more national acclaimed organization and have like that notoriety. I want to have like over maybe, let's be realistic here, maybe like 10,000 Black youth in there, and I be in all 50 states, all of the 51 states, and also, all of 51 states. So
yeah,
that's funny. But all of the 51 states, and also be in different continents as well. I want to build a community center in my hometown to pour into the city that birthed me, and also it'll be like a full circle moment to like how that kind of birthed the BYEN. So now I'm coming back to my community to build a community center to combat all those issues. Like, and you can visibly see me combating it. I want to build a community center, and I just want to just tackle a lot of political issues. I'm trying not to be too political with the organization, but it's hard not to be political when politics have been like the main source of like disadvantaging Black people.
Especially with what's going on.
What's going on right now, right? So I have to get my hands dirty, right? So I want our organization to be like a really historical organization in the next 70 years that really fought against the issues of DEI and stuff and all the other stuff.
Right. So what advice would you give to other students? I know this is a hard question to ask because you're a freshman and you're still starting out and learning, But what advice would you give to that other student that's in the same position as you or younger, who wants to start their own organization and have that kind of impact, or maybe join something like that and have the kind of impact that you're having? What advice would you give to them?
Yes. I was talking to my team about this. I was talking to my deputy executive director about this, James. I told James we're planning like this event or whatnot to be like soon to be seen or whatever. I can't tell you.
Can't announce it right here.
I can't announce it that much, but I will say we're
trying to get that exclusive.
we're planning this initiative, right? And the theme that popped up in my head the night we was planning it was find your story. I want to encourage people to find their story because their story matters, and their story is what is going to take them very, very far. So when you find your story, you'll be able to find your passion. And when you find your passion, you'll be able to pour into something that you believe in, actually believe in. Don't do things for resume. That's one thing I learned. Don't do things for resume. Don't do things just for publicity either. Like truly do things that you're passionate about, and all the other stuff will fall into place. You will create a beautiful resume when you do things you're passionate about. You get all the necessary publicity you need when you do things you're passionate about. But also be intentional as well, and also tell your story, because your story is what truly matters.
Absolutely, man. Those are all the questions I had for you, brother.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is probably one of the not shortest podcasts I've done, but definitely one of the most meaningful. And I appreciate you for coming on to the show with me today to tell a little bit about your story, about BYEN, and about where you're going. So thank you. And thank you for watching Evergreen Conversations, a breakthrough audiovisual storytelling medium that serves as a platform for news, entertainment, sports, and culture. We will see you next time.